Alright, hello everyone. Today we will be talking about avant-garde. Now, avant-garde is a term that is used in visual arts to sort of categorize a lot of experimental body of work. Now, avant-garde is a term that in photography, at least how I feel, serves our purposes is that how can we merge this idea of experimentation, which I already mentioned, but also stay true to the principles of photography. Now, in my SOCA 100 ways of seeing art class, we talk about avant-garde through a lot of these great movements in late 20th century, sorry, in the early 20th century, by artists such as Marcel Duchamp, who sort of was infamous for putting a urinal piece in the middle of a gallery space just with one word armat, and he sort of controversially sort of proposed the idea that anything that you as an artist call art can be seen as art. So this was sort of more philosophical, more cerebral. Sorry, oh, I'm slurring my words today. More cerebral, but again, Marcel Duchamp was an excellent artist. So he was then, after a while, challenging that what is art and uh, who actually gets the right to call this is art, this isn't art. Now, because since this is a photography course, we are not really going too deep into the intellectual conversations about Marcel Duchamp and other avant-garde artists of his time, but I'm really interested in exploring avant-garde through photography. Now, at least in today's session, I want us to use avant-garde in a way that is actually A, meaningful to us, B, experimental, and C, fun. Again, when we think about avant-garde and experimentation in photography, we have to think about how we can actually use the spirit of experimentation in composition. For example, how can light, shadows, imageries, and all that good stuff can be used in creating concepts. Now, first thing I want to sort of just talk about is abstract ideas. So, the first photo that I want to quickly show is this photograph titled Leap into the Void, which was taken by French artist Yves Klein in 60s. It is regarded as one of the earliest conceptual photographs and a pivotal work in the progress of photography. So as you can see, this photo just is sort of this abstract idea of this person is just like trying to fly, and obviously we can all know the gravity, if gravity does its work, if this person is just gonna dive head I don't know, head first or chest first on this concrete floor. But the idea is abstraction. What do you get from this photo? So, as a photographer, how can you capture the essence of a concept? And when I say a concept, it can be abstract. Abstract could be, it could be open to interpretation, or it could have a very specific meaning. Now, this is another photo that I found really interesting, a projection of the barcode on the subjects, which sort of casts a shadow similar to a jail cell. And again, this is a commentary on how humans can be captive to consumerism. So abstract ideas is definitely, sorry, not definitely, abstract ideas can be juxtaposition of two different elements at one, and then you can think about what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. Now, this is a great photo, and if any of you have projectors, you can experiment with projecting stuff on yourself, on any other subject around you, and that's a very interesting abstract idea. Now, this is a photo series. This is a triptych. So, as you can see, a collection of three photos. Individually, they can function as well as portrait shots, like just like these really singular portrait shots of candid shots. But in triptych, this is definitely a very interesting sort of story. Not a story, but rather a collection of moments. So abstract ideas could be shown be in three, in an arc of threes, and this is known as triptych. We will be talking about triptychs later on. As you can see in this simple photo that I found over the internet, there is just use of simple staging. So you don't have to project something, you don't have to go the man ray route of finding and creating surreal objects. What you can do is you can actually simply find different elements, people around you, and stage them to create an abstract idea. Now, abstract idea can also be used through Photoshop. You can take, like in this shot that I really like, is that the artists have taken a portrait shot in black and white, but then to enhance the idea, they have used sort of this red marker ink or whatever they found, and sort of just covered the eyes, and it just gives you a more profound idea and a sense of uh, concept that you might want to work with. Similarly, the same photographer, and I've sort of broken down how we can actually use their workflow. So we can use a stock image over a portrait shot that we already have to create an abstract idea. So whatever makes sense to you. You want to use Photoshop to enhance your work, or you want to stage your work. It totally depends on you. Now, the second sort of abstraction that I feel just what I see in a lot of like media art is advertising an idea. So as you can see in this specific shot for Tabasco, I really like this specifically ad camping, is that I like how they sort of just like played with the idea of a fire hydrant, fire extinguisher, sorry, and they just use a sort of cheeky text, beware the heat. So this is a sort of a way or a direction one can also go towards. So as I also break down, they added a stock image of a glow at the back as an embedded layer. They use the original portrait as a base layer, and then they use a clean minimal font. More interesting advertising ideas for abstraction that you can see around, and I feel with the left photo it's definitely more Photoshop oriented, someone walking into the death trap as a cigarette bar, definitely more skill required. And then to the right, this is definitely more intensive or more careful use of lighting and staging, and also a higher angle to sort of advertise this iced tea. Now, I just wanted to show more example. A perfume bottle sort of staged in a way it casts this beautiful shadow. So advertising an idea can also be a conceptual photo, and a lot of photographers do use that. Alright, so we're gonna keep it simple. So with avant-garde, I just wanted to explain this idea that avant-garde is experimentation. Now, I don't really want to like, I do have a lot of photographers that I personally like. There are so many experimental, like Dora Maar is such a great photographer, but at this point, I'm not interested in just like giving you a list of my favorite photographer, but rather I want you to go out and investigate avant-garde according to you. So what you can do is you can plan your shoot, come up with a specific idea, and just execute it. It could be an abstract idea, it could be something absurd, something funny. It can definitely be a staged idea of something whimsical, something more interesting, whatever makes sense to you. Or it could really be advertising a product. So it could be just creating a mock-up ad of something that you find very interesting, or it could be using a stock image and a portrait shot you have taken and creating conceptual photo. So again, I've given you a bunch of examples, and I've talked through how avant-garde and how advertisers in photography and different sort can sort of merge together to create this idea of experimentation. But there are so many examples. So definitely I want you guys to create a Pinterest mood board. So pin 5 photos on your Pinterest and share that on your doc that says these are some of the references you like. And then also, if you, sorry, not then also, and if you feel then if some of you are not really super familiar with Pinterest, you can also go over Instagram, and on Instagram you can save some of your posts, some of the posts that you find inspiration, and you can share that a screenshot of all the saved Instagram posts that you have found. Alrighty, that's it for today, and please do check out my Photoshop tutorial for your project as well. And yeah, thank you.